I said, what? People are living in there? And she said, yes. And we then went to the church, and I said, I can't believe this.
Few Hollywood couples share a bond as unique and influential as Tom Laughlin and Delores Taylor. Together, they shaped not only a film series that challenged social norms, but also a legacy of activism that resonated far beyond the screen. What happens when such vibrant lives come to a sudden, tragic close, leaving behind a mix of admiration, mystery, and loss? Tom Laughlin was no ordinary actor. He was a multi-talented visionary who created the legendary character Billy Jack. While Delores was more than a co-star, she was his steadfast partner in life and cause. Their story is both inspiring and heartbreaking, filled with surprising twists that reveal the true weight of their final chapters. The sudden turning point, the final years of Tom Laughlin and Delores Taylor, were marked by challenges that gradually dimmed the vibrancy they once radiated. Although their legacy in film and activism was firmly established, health issues quietly reshaped their lives away from public attention. Tom, known for his energy and determination, struggled with complications from pneumonia that weakened him in the years leading up to his passing. His condition remained largely private, leaving many fans unaware of the hardships he faced during that time. Delores experienced a similarly difficult decline after stepping away from the spotlight. She battled dementia, a condition that slowly eroded her memory and independence. The strong and outspoken woman once seen on screen became increasingly vulnerable, a change that was mostly hidden from the public until later. This quiet struggle added a deeper sense of loss for those who admired her work and remembered her powerful presence. Despite these hardships, Tom and Delores remained united through a bond strengthened by decades of shared purpose. Their relationship extended far beyond their professional collaboration, offering comfort and support during their final years. Even as their health declined, their enduring connection reflected a partnership rooted in love, respect, and resilience, providing stability in uncertain times. Tom Laughlin passed away in December 2013. Remembered as a bold and unconventional figure, he left behind a legacy defined by creativity and activism. His daughter described him as a true American maverick, highlighting both his achievements and the quieter struggles he faced near the end of his life. Delores followed in March 2018 after years of living with dementia, closing a shared chapter defined by artistic vision and advocacy. Their passing kind of invites reflection on how public success sits next to private vulnerability. Sure, they were celebrated for their cultural impact, but in their later years you really see the deeply human stuff of aging and illness. That contrast gives their story this emotional weight. It's like it's reminding us that even big, influential figures still get hit by challenges that happen outside the spotlight and all that recognition they used to know. And then, their experience brings up broader questions about what kind of support artists really get when they shift from public life into personal struggle. For Tom and Delores, stepping away from the spotlight wasn't really, "This is what I choose." It was more shaped by necessity than choice. Their story gives some insight into the often unseen difficulties faced by people who commit their lives to creative work and social causes, especially when time starts taking its inevitable toll. Also, the quieter way their decline unfolds, it clashes with the boldness of their work. That little mismatch points to a universal truth, that every life, no matter the accomplishments, is subject to change and loss. Their story nudges a gentler kind of understanding about the private journeys behind public figures and the realities they carry. Ultimately, those final years make the legacy feel even deeper. It doesn't shrink their impact. The struggles instead underline their resilience and that steady, enduring partnership. So the story becomes not just about achievement, but about humanity, reminding us that their strength and love, perseverance, and the ability to meet life's difficulties with dignity and grace. Their enduring bond and the unexpected nature of their final years inspire a look back into their roots and the foundation of a partnership that defined a generation. Tom Laughlin's early life. Tom Laughlin's story began far from the Hollywood spotlight in Milwaukee, where he was born on August 10, 1931. He attended Washington High School, where he displayed early determination and a restless urge to challenge expectations. Initially, his passion centered on football, a pursuit that earned him a scholarship to Marquette University. However, his college years ended abruptly after a fight led to his expulsion during his sophomore year. This incident revealed a rebellious streak that would later become a defining element of both his personality and career. Without a degree, Laughlin made the bold decision to move to Hollywood and pursue acting. Like many aspiring performers, he started with small roles, appearing in films such as South Pacific and Gidget. While these early parts helped him gain experience and familiarity with the industry, they did not yet reflect his deeper creative ambitions. Even at this stage, Laughlin showed signs of wanting more than a typical acting career. He was interested in shaping stories, not just participating in them. A significant turning point came in 1963 with The Delinquents, a film he not only starred in but also co-wrote and produced. Its modest success marked him as more than just an actor. It established him as a creative force willing to take risks. At a time when the studio system controlled most aspects of filmmaking, Laughlin's desire for creative control set him apart. He sought to influence every part of the storytelling process, a drive that would later define his work as a filmmaker. Despite maintaining steady roles in film and television, Laughlin still lacked the widespread recognition he sought. The projects he worked on provided stability, but not the artistic fulfillment he desired. This gap fueled his determination to find or create a project that could fully express his ideas and challenge audiences in meaningful ways. During these formative years, his talents expanded past acting, and he began developing into a writer, director, and thinker, and slowly more and more drawn to the film as a platform for social commentary. You could say his political awareness got to shaping his creative direction earlier than later, laying down the kind of groundwork that would later look like activism, the whole time defining his career. He started seeing storytelling as a way to get involved with real-world issues, not only to entertain people. His personal experiences mattered a lot. Stuff like his expulsion from college, plus his observations of injustice, fed into the authenticity of his characters and narratives. Those influences helped him put together stories that resonated with audiences who were hungry for something more sincere than the usual traditional Hollywood productions. And all that momentum eventually led to the creation of Billy Jack, a character deeply rooted in Laughlin's beliefs and in his own experiences too. The series became more than simple entertainment. It turned into a platform for handling social problems and pushing for justice. So the foundation Laughlin built during these early years, it set him up for both success and controversy. His persistence and his dedication to meaningful storytelling made him stand out from the conventional actor type, and it ultimately paved the way for the lasting mark he would leave on film and culture. Tom's beginnings paint the picture of a man driven by more than fame, a man compelled by a vision he was determined to realize. This unwavering drive connected him to Delores Taylor, whose background added another powerful dimension to their shared journey. The birth of Billy Jack, the creation of Billy Jack, marked a major turning point in Tom Laughlin's career and in American independent cinema. The character was born from Laughlin's desire to address urgent social issues through storytelling that combined action with themes of justice and peace. Billy Jack stood apart from typical film heroes. He was a half-Navajo, former Green Beret, who defended marginalized communities, particularly Native Americans and vulnerable youth. This identity allowed Laughlin to spotlight issues often overlooked by mainstream Hollywood. Billy Jack first appeared in the 1967 film The Born Losers, co-produced by Tom and Delores Taylor. While Delores had a smaller role, the film introduced audiences to a character who would soon become a cultural symbol. The story, which featured Billy Jack protecting young women from a violent biker gang, resonated with a growing counterculture audience. Despite its modest budget, the film laid the groundwork for a series that would tackle themes like injustice and inequality. The character's real breakthrough came with Billy Jack in 1971. This film gave Laughlin the opportunity to fully develop his vision. Delores took on a larger role as Gene Roberts, Billy Jack's partner, portraying strength, compassion, and independence. The story centered on conflict between Native Americans and corrupt local authorities, highlighting abuse of power and systemic injustice. Billy Jack's defense of the oppressed made the film a powerful symbol of resistance during a turbulent era. The film stood out for its raw style and commitment to authenticity. Laughlin used naturalistic dialogue and cast a mix of professional and non-professional actors, which added realism to the portrayal of Native American life and social struggles. Although criticized for its violent scenes and themes of vigilantism, the film gained a strong following. For many viewers, it reflected the frustrations and ideals of the time. In 1974, the trial of Billy Jack sort of expanded the story into a more overtly political one, The film centered on Billy Jack's courtroom fight after he gets charged with slaying a police officer while defending justice. The themes felt like echoes from real-world arguments about civil rights, fairness, and authority, even if it was still very much a movie. Critics didn't really agree, though, but audiences responded pretty well, so it became a commercial success. Laughlin kept creative control the whole time, acting as writer, director, and lead actor, somehow all at once. That made sure the film stayed true to their activist message. The stories kept circling around peace, justice, and resistance, which seemed tied to his beliefs as well as Delores Taylor's advocacy. The last installment, Billy Jack Goes to Washington, 1977, put the character in the U.S. Senate, where he ran straight into political corruption. It was ambitious, and yes, it wrapped up the series' message about integrity and justice. Even with mixed reviews, the Billy Jack films left a real cultural imprint, especially with younger audiences. They captured the energy of a generation looking for change, and helped shape independent filmmaking that focuses on social issues more than usual. Billy Jack's success and cultural weight highlighted the inseparable link between Tom and Dolores' personal beliefs and their creative output, setting the stage for the next chapter in their collaboration and public influence. Collaborative success in film. Tom Laughlin and Delores Taylor's partnership was more than a marriage. It was a creative alliance that drove a series of influential films in the late 1960s and 1970s. Delores contributed far beyond acting, co-producing, and writing while supporting Tom's vision with her own insights. Their collaboration blended personal dedication with professional ambition, creating work that stood out for both its message and impact. Dolores' portrayal of Jean Roberts in the Billy Jack series became iconic. Her character broke away from typical female roles of the era, presenting a strong, independent woman committed to justice and peace. Jean stood alongside Billy Jack as an equal, challenging injustice and social norms. Delores brought authenticity to the role, drawing from her own passion for Native American rights and social advocacy, which gave the character emotional depth and credibility. Behind the scenes, Delores played a vital role in shaping their films. She co-produced projects like The Born Losers and The Master Gunfighter, showing her versatility and commitment to meaningful storytelling. Their shared goal was to highlight issues such as inequality and cultural representation, subjects often overlooked in mainstream cinema. Their films became vehicles for both storytelling and activism. Their partnership thrived on a balance of strengths. Tom's intense creative vision was complemented by Dolores' grounded perspective and advocacy. Together, they pushed boundaries and addressed controversial topics without hesitation. This fearlessness defined both their films and their public identities as outspoken voices for change. As Tom continued working in film into the 1970s and 1980s, Delores stepped back from acting to focus on family and philanthropy. Even so, her influence remained central to their earlier successes. Her contributions continued to resonate through the films they created and the causes they supported, inspiring audiences long after she left the screen. Their work somehow hooked a counterculture crowd, people looking for straight-up, socially alert storytelling. The Billy Jack series and some of the connected films kept circling themes like racism, corruption, and peace, a lot of times mirroring what the couple themselves believed. That kind of close, personal buy-in made their work feel more sincere, and honestly, that set it apart from a bunch of more commercial productions. Delores got real recognition for her efforts, with things like a Golden Globe nomination and then an induction into the South Dakota Hall of Fame. Those honors didn't just point to her talent. They also underlined how she acted as an advocate and as a steady collaborator. Her wins basically showed how much her contributions mattered to the shared projects they were building. Their relationship also looked like a living example of reciprocal respect and creative equality. Back when partnerships like that were rare, they showed that teamwork could boost both the artistic side and the social side. Not just one or the other. Together, they stretched the limits of independent filmmaking in a way that felt surprisingly durable. In the end, their partnership tied art to activism in a lasting manner. Their films weren't only entertainment, they were reflections of their values, helping nudge cultural conversations and push for change. This mashup of personal commitment and creative expression still feels like a core part of their legacy, even now. Their artistic partnership laid the groundwork for deeper political engagement that would characterize much of Tom's later career, blending passion with purpose in both screen and real life. Activism and social impact. Tom Laughlin and Delores Taylor were more than filmmakers. They were dedicated activists who used their work to highlight critical social issues. From the start of their careers, they championed causes such as Native American rights, peace, and social justice. Their films confronted difficult truths, challenging societal norms and exposing injustice. They believed strongly that storytelling could inspire awareness and meaningful change. Tom extended his activism beyond film by running for president in 1992 and 2004. His campaigns focused on topics often overlooked in mainstream politics, including campaign finance reform, tax reform, and ending the war on illegal substances. Although he did not win, his efforts brought attention to these issues and encouraged public dialogue. His willingness to speak out, even without widespread support, reflected his deep commitment to reform. Delores shared this passion for advocacy. Her performances, especially as Jean Roberts, reflected her personal beliefs and commitment to justice. Having grown up near a Native American reservation, she brought genuine understanding and empathy to her roles. Together, she and Tom formed a partnership grounded in shared values, using their creative work as a platform for change. Their films, particularly the Billy Jack series, became cultural touchstones during a time of social and political unrest. These stories resonated with audiences seeking narratives of resistance and justice. The characters they created symbolized courage and defiance, encouraging viewers to question inequality and think critically about society. Despite their impact, their work was not without controversy. Critics pointed to the film's violence and occasional oversimplification of complex issues. However, these elements reflected the intensity of the era and the urgency of their message. Tom and Delores stood by their work, embracing criticism as part of pushing boundaries and provoking thought. Beyond filmmaking, they stayed committed to activism, mostly through philanthropy and public involvement, you could say. Delores stepped away from acting in the 1980s to focus on family and charitable work, while Tom kept on talking about social as well as political matters. Their dedication to advocacy seemed to last across their whole lives, showing their purpose went way beyond entertainment, you know. Their outspoken style, though, sometimes created a bit of distance between them and Hollywood. Still, they carried on without wavering. They felt art ought to deal with real-world concerns, even if it meant controversy. That belief drew both praise and pushback, but it also basically positioned them as fearless voices inside the business. Today, the influence of their work is still visible in the ongoing discussions about justice, representation, and activism in media. Their insistence on mixing art with intention helped clear a path for later creators, so people could tell stories that matter and not just entertain. In the end, Tom Laughlin and Delores Taylor proved film can be both a creative outlet and a push for change. Their shared plan and determination left a deep mark on culture. It highlighted how passion and purpose together can shape both art and society. Their relentless commitment to justice set a powerful precedent, but it also came with personal costs that gradually surfaced in their later years. Health decline and final years. The later years of Tom Laughlin and Delores Taylor were defined by serious health challenges that quietly reshaped their lives. Tom suffered from ongoing complications related to pneumonia, which steadily weakened him and limited his mobility. Once known for his powerful presence as Billy Jack, he became increasingly frail, retreating from public life. This shift stood in stark contrast to the bold activism and energy that had once defined his career. Delores faced her own difficult journey, battling dementia for several years before her passing. The condition gradually diminished the sharpness and independence that had made her such a compelling performer and advocate. As her memory and awareness declined, she relied more heavily on those around her. Despite this, the care and love from her family remained constant, providing comfort through an emotionally challenging time. Together, they approached these final chapters with quiet resilience. Their 3 children played a central role in supporting them, offering care and companionship as their health declined. Much of what they endured remained private, and many outside their close circle were unaware of the severity of their conditions. This contrast between their vibrant public lives and their subdued final years adds a deep sense of poignancy to their story. Tom Laughlin passed away on December 12, 2013, at the age of 82. His death marked the end of a career that had boldly combined filmmaking with activism. Remembered as a determined and unconventional figure, he left behind a body of work that continued to inspire audiences and provoke thought long after his passing. Delores Taylor passed away on March 23, 2018, at 85 years old after years of living with dementia. In her last stretch, there was illness, yes, but her presence kept going, sort of like lingering light, through the films she helped craft and the causes she backed. Her remembrance, much like Tom's, keeps stretching well past those last days. What they went through also lands as a sober reminder that even people with the biggest reach still have deeply human battles. Illness found them the way it finds so many others, leaving behind a kind of frailty in people we usually see as larger than life. Still, they met it with dignity, showing the same resolve that had shaped their earlier work. And the whole thing, it points to that wider truth about aging while in the public eye. From the peak of cultural impact to quieter seasons, where decline just arrives, their lives show the full curve of being human. This view gives the whole legacy more feeling, and pushes a more sympathetic look at the people behind the headlines, not only the achievements. Even with all of it going on, their bond stayed solid as a rock in a storm. Their shared past, the creative partnership, and the steady encouragement for one another brought order to uncertain times. That link, it adds texture to their history, and it reminds us their legacy isn't only artistic or political, it's also intensely personal. The endurance of their influence despite physical decline speaks to a life far greater than its final moments, setting the stage to explore how their legacy still resonates across generations.